OCD is obsessive compulsive disorder, which comprises of intrusive thoughts, and as a result of the intrusive thoughts that you have and the anxiety that it brings, individuals try to perform certain behaviors, otherwise known as compulsions, to alleviate the anxiety that happens as a result of OCD. But what happens is you create a loop over and over again because you're teaching your brain that the thoughts are something to worry about. And as a result, as I said, the loop keeps going over and over and you get stuck within an OCD loop. I would say OCD affected my life dramatically last year. I had a really big breakdown as a result of it. Some of the thoughts that I was having that was so against my values and morals, I was concerned that I was going absolutely insane. I thought I had schizophrenia, psychosis. I believed I was a different sexual orientation. I believed I was someone that was going to harm people. I've believed many different things under it, and it brought me to an absolute breaking point in my life. And since then, I've been rebuilding my life still as a result of the ruin mentally and emotionally, and also financially as a result of OCD. It brought me to a breaking point is the first point. Secondly, I lost everything. I lost finances. I couldn't do many different things because I was so anxious and terrified of the thoughts I was having. My life has never really been the same as a result of OCD. I'm rebuilding everything that happened as a result of the breakdown. I had an OCD breakdown as a result of some of the thoughts I was having, which I believed I was living with for about 5 to 6 years. I was having health anxiety, thoughts about my sexual identity, thoughts about sexually assaulting people, thoughts about suicide. I've had pretty much everything under the sun. Questioning if I'm going to be psychotic, questioning if I've had schizophrenia, and so much more. But OCD is a very serious condition that most people don't realize, and the earlier you catch it, the better you can treat it, because we know quite often it takes on average about 14 to 17 years for people with OCD to be actually diagnosed and to receive treatment. Most importantly, a lot of people won't talk about OCD because of the type of thoughts that they're having. They're so taboo, they're so against the normal type of thoughts people have. Although we know them to be ego dystonic, but people are terrified that their thoughts say so much more about them than they actually do. I would say there's a few things that I've intersected with OCD within my personal background. Well, being a guy, I think first of all, speaking about some of the thoughts that you have about assault, real event, false memory OCD, questioning things that have happened. There's an insidious fear in society, I think, at this current moment in time where we look at the culture we're creating, where men in some ways, this is more of a political, probably social analysis / criticism, that we view a lot of men as perpetrators. And I think especially having OCD, having certain types of thoughts, you've already labeled yourself as someone who's an assaulter or someone who potentially might hurt people. Now double that up with having a society around you where we view people from that lens. Some of these things have deeply affected. So the political, social climate, the way that I view my sex / gender. Also when it comes to race as well, we know that black men are 6 times more likely to be sectioned with severe they're 6 times more likely to be sectioned under the Mental Health Act and more likely to have more severe mental health diagnosis and as a result of it. And I think there were a lot of things I just really didn't want to speak about. I was terrified to tell people some of the thoughts that I was having because I believed not only was I one thing, but I believed society was also going to view me as this monster quite often that I think as a black guy I'm always trying to go up against. So yeah, treatment for OCD, the gold standard looks like cognitive behavioral therapy with exposure response prevention, ERP. So you learn to confront your fears. So let's say my worst fear was, if I'm going to be super open, I was terrified I was going to be a rapist, absolutely terrified. So I did something called an imaginal script where I had to, with my therapist, this was safely done, I had to write, I am a rapist on a piece of paper. And I remember to even write it, I was petrified. I started crying. I broke down in tears and I said to my therapist at the time, is this gonna make me a rapist? Please, I don't wanna hurt anyone. And she said, Shaun, you need to do this to get better. So we wrote the script, we wrote how I did it, and it terrified me to live in God. And I remember after, I slept for about 3 hours. That's how much of a panic state I was in because my brain had associated the thought of rape being, that's meant that what I was, and it's meant that that was what I was gonna do. That will be okay and we're going to get through this. When I was at my absolute worst with OCD, it controlled everything I did. And so I'd say to my younger self, let's go and seek out help a lot sooner. If you need support for OCD, there's a helpline number that you can call, which is 0300 636-5478. And there's also an email address, which is support@ocdaction.org.uk. No matter where you are in the world, no matter how you feel, you deserve help and you deserve support. Don't give up on your life. And most importantly, remember, you can claim your life back from OCD.